I do not like Studio Ghibli's version of Howl's Moving Castle. Let's discuss. So originally, Howl's Moving Castle is actually a 3-part book series written by Diana Wynne Jones. I've got the first 2 books right here. Howl's Moving Castle, House of Many Ways, and the prequel to the Howl's Moving Castle book is called Castle in the Air. Now, having finished reading this book and then immediately watching the movie, I thought I would make some comparisons and contrasts and ultimately discuss why I didn't like the movie. The first thing that I did not like was Sophie's character. In the Studio Ghibli movie, Sophie is very subdued. She's very quiet. She is not strong-headed. She's not strong-willed. She is very demure, very cutesy. That is not her in this book. In the book, Sophie is a loudmouth girl. She is quite insecure, but the story makes it seem like that because she is the eldest. She has the most responsibility. Her father has passed away, so she is unlucky. Her stepmother, is kind to her and treats her like her 2 stepsisters, Letty and Martha, but ultimately her fate is to stay home and continue to make hats while her stepsisters are sent off to better prospects and have the ability really to find better matches or suitors for marriage. This kind of gives Sophie a pessimistic view on life. She is very matter of fact in her speech. She even calls Howl a slitherer outer, and she's really not afraid to say what's on her mind. And that gets her in big trouble with the next character, the Witch of the Waste. You see, in Studio Ghibli's movie of Howl's Moving Castle, the Witch of the Waste is a grotesque, rubbernecked woman. And she doesn't do much magic. She puts a curse on Sophie, which is the first plot point, which is the first beat in this movie as well. But in the book, she is depicted as a very beautiful, red-headed, thin woman whose desire is to have Howl. And she is searching for Howl because she doesn't want his heart, she wants his head. In the Ghibli movie, there is a immense lack of magic being used. While in Howl's Moving Castle, the book, magic is part of everyday life. It's not uncommon to go to a witch to grab a spell or to see the wizard, Howl. Even Sophie, halfway through, she learns that she has her own magic. In the movie, Sophie didn't have any magic except the power of love, which is the next character I want to talk about, though, is Howl, because Howl in this book is so zany, vain, quirky, and just as mouthy as Sophie. He's very rude. He actually finds Sophie to be annoying. So the way she gets in the castle is that she is walking across the field to let her sisters know that she has been turned into an old woman and she believes that it suits her. So the reason Sophie is seeking out Howl in the book is because she wants him to break the curse. She's heard that he's a powerful wizard and she thinks, oh, I'll just go to a powerful wizard, get him to break that curse, and I will be on my way. She comes across his moving castle. She forces her way in, contrary to what Michael wants, and then she decides that she will stay in the house until Howl removes the curse. He lifts the curse from her. Until then, she will make herself useful by being a cleaning lady. This annoys Howl. He spends most of his days going in and out of the castle, chasing women. And when he's back inside the castle, he's either making fun of Sophie and her long nose, her old appearance, making a spell, breaking down a spell, or teaching Michael how to do spells. That's literally all he does. And he actually hates that Sophie cleans the house. He wants her to keep the spiders. He doesn't want her in his bedroom at all. He would actually prefer that she didn't touch anything. Now you see, Sophie stays in the house because, one, Hal is not yet able to break her curse. But Calcifer, the fire demon, has also made a bargain with her, and that he will break her curse if she breaks his. So now she has a reason to stay outside of Hal, even though he is constantly berating her and making fun of her. So for a large chunk of the book, these two are going back and forth, and it's just daily activities. They're dropping off spells, they're delivering spells, they're cleaning the house, they're eating together, and they are finding out more information about the Witch of the Waste. And I felt like that's what made this book charming. In the book, there is no emphasis on love. It's all about defeating the Witch of the Waste and breaking everybody's curse. So we come to find out that the king is preparing for war, but he will not go to war unless his brother can be found, because his brother is his lead general, and the wizard Solomon can be found. Of course, we know that the Witch of the Waste has taken these two beings and she has created amalgamations. She has ripped their bodies apart, put their pieces together in a dog and in the scarecrow, and left the best parts for her in her home. And now she wants Hal so she can take his head and she can have the perfect king to rule over Port Haven, all the little towns in the kingdom, and she can be the queen. That is her ultimate goal. The ending of this book is wonderful. We do find out that Sophie does have powers. Her power is to speak life into things, which I thought was really cute. Well, when the Witch of the Waste finds Hal and begins to attack him, Sophie leaves and decides she is going to go confront the Witch of the Waste, because the Witch of the Waste has stolen a very important woman to Hal that he is courting. And Sophie believes that if she goes and finds this woman, that Hal will not have to fight the witch anymore. She goes, it's a trap. They defeat the Witch of the Waste because she does not have her heart. And we find out that the woman that Hal was courting is actually another fire demon. So they rush back home. They defeat the fire demon. Calcifer's curse is broken. We find out that he was actually a falling star and made a contract with Hal to keep him alive. So Hal stays alive as long as Calcifer fire burns, and Calcifer stays alive as long as he has the heart of Hal. And Sophie's curse is broken, and she blossoms into this beautiful young 17-year-old girl with red hair. And her and Hal actually start to grow fond of each other. But that happens in the last 20 pages of the book. There were a lot of creative decisions that I did not understand. The first being, why did they make Hal a Birdman? It's not in the book. There was no emphasis on birds in the book. I just don't know where it comes from. Also, I don't know why they nerfed the characters. I don't know if it's because it was Japanese culture to be more proper and they thought it would be palatable to a Japanese audience, or it fit more of the direction as a romance rather than a cozy little fantasy series. I didn't like that at all, the emphasis on the romance, since it was only the last 20 pages of the book. Next thing I didn't like is the emphasis on war. Yes, the kingdom is preparing for war, but nothing happens because the head general and the main wizard, the royal wizard, are not there. The looming war, is mentioned maybe twice, and it takes a back seat to the daily life of Sophie and the wizard. So I couldn't really understand that. It just seemed like the Studio Ghibli film hopped from major beat to major beat to major beat, and the stuff in the middle was not very conjoined. I mean, even when the Witch of the Waste was walking up the stairs, that was a portion, that happened in the book. The Witch of the Waste walking up the stairs with Sophie. But instead, she was young, she had 2 page boys with her, and she watched as Sophie walked all the way up to the top because Sophie was trying to get out of going back in front of the king. Like, I just didn't like it. I didn't like Studio Ghibli this time. And I think the saving grace of this movie is the song. The saving grace of this movie is the music. The merry-go-round of life, that was top tier. But the movie as a whole, the continuity, how they blended things together and they didn't really make any sense. I would have loved to see at least the characters embody more of the characters in the book. And I don't know, I just feel like it was lackluster. This is not a romance book. It was straight fantasy the entire time with a hint of, now y'all getting comfortable. Okay, I can see that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was a coherent video, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.